Hello everybody and welcome to the HCW Podcast. This week we are going to be going for a new format. We're going to review WWE Friday Night Smackdown and WWE Monday Night Raw together, and then we're going to go with AEW Collision in its debut episode and AEW Dynamite. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. Roll intro.
HCW Reviews.
Hello everybody and welcome to the show. I am your host Frozzy alongside Rate Wrestle. As always, how are you doing this week, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing well. We've already discussed in the previous recording for like 10 seconds that I changed the format of this within 7 seconds of us about to record.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. Stressed this week, so I had an interview and I was looking after a team, so it's just been a knackering time. And you'll find out when we review one of the shows how knackering it's been.
Yeah, because, I mean, full disclosure, neither of us have seen Monday Night Raw all the way through. Purely because of just hectic weeks for both of us.
Or at all.
Yeah, or at all. So the Raw one will be a bit of a quick recap, and we'll go over and fill in gaps where we can, if anything sort of jumps out that we know. But yeah, Raw's probably going to be a short one this week. Normal service should be resumed next week. But yeah, it's just...
How are you doing, Frozzy?
Not good. Let's not talk about it. So yeah, with that being said, we'll go straight into Friday Night Smackdown, if you want to take it away, Ray.
I haven't watched Friday Night Smackdown. I thought you watched it.
No. I told you I'd watched it and not taken notes.
Yeah, but I said I couldn't watch it at all.
Oh, I thought
okay.
you pushed it
Oh,
on.
no. Okay, this has got worse. Let me get... So, WWE's in the bin this week, by the way. I'm just going to get the results up for SmackDown. There's only one major thing that fucking happened, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Anything that anyone cares about.
Yeah, the only thing that anyone cares about, and is, like I said, I've watched SmackDown, but I have no notes. I usually use, notes to refresh memory of what you're talking and stuff like that. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that happened. Because I don't have to review it like you do. So I just watch it so I know what you're on about.
So as soon as I can't review something, it goes to fucking shite.
So miscommunicated.
I can refresh your mind. What caused this was BT Sport. I had one opportunity to watch it, and then BT Sport decided no.
Yeah.
So I can refresh your mind. So there might have been something that happened prior to this, but they had a gauntlet match for the WWE Raw and SmackDown Tag Team titles, which was Pretty Deadly, Street Profits, the OC, Hit Row, Brawling Brutes, and LWO.
Which was actually a really good match, and Pretty Deadly won it. Which is what I was happy about, because I'd spoke to DP and a few other people before who didn't think Pretty Deadly were going to win it, and I just thought it's a bit of a random match to put them in if they're not going to win it. DP was convinced because of the USO stuff the week prior that Pretty Deadly were going to be cost this match, but I couldn't see it. The Bloodline don't care about Pretty Deadly.
They're the only logical team, really. Pretty Deadly, Street Profits, no one wants to see that.
No, it's new. That's
Hit Rows just there, and why are they still there? And the Brawling Brutes are just... Well, Ridge Holland and Sheamus is a makeshift team. It's not... Then LWO's just there. They're just the cannon fodder of LWO. And then the OC are the only ones that could technically do it, but because it's their faces technically at the moment, it wouldn't have worked.
No, Pretty Deadly are new. Brand new to this. The OC held tag titles before and things like that. Obviously, the Profits have. So yeah, I was quite happy, and I think that it'll be a very, very good match when they do get the shot. I think it's the SmackDown before Money in the Bank.
It is, and then we've got going forward. The next match was Io Sky versus Zelina Vega.
Yeah, no, this wasn't good for anyone involved. Zelina Vega won as well, which she obviously needed momentum going into Money in the Bank, so yeah, that happened.
Great. Then continuing the weirdness, you got the OC, so all OC fought this night. AJ Styles and Michin versus Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux.
But yeah. This was all this match was a way to get Karrion Kross a victory in a feud he's going to lose. Because he's not won anything in this so far, so it was very obvious that it was going to be Kross. Wasn't anything spectacular. It was just a bang average TV match that Karrion Kross won. So yeah.
Okay, and then technically the main event, but obviously it wasn't in the terms of the actual SmackDown, which was LA Knight versus Santos Escobar, which I'm guessing is a Money in the Bank qualifier?
Yes, it was. And LA Knight won, which is absolutely fantastic. And I've seen what he did on Raw as well, which was great. He absolutely battered Logan Paul. And it was one of the best things I've seen. And he's so over now. It's actually insane how over he is. I think someone's just broke into your house. If Ray disappears...
You step away for a second. The door is just literally here.
Yes. So Ray is fixing his door.
Amazon delivery.
Is that what it is? Right.
Yeah. Like, it sounded like you get old. To talk about flipping, I might as well rant about this now. I was filming with Alex Connors, and next door, flipping, their kids wanted a ball in the back garden. I was filming Alex Connors, and because my front door's the room across, it sounded like the fucking bailiffs were knocking on my door. Wait till you see the video, at the end of it, I've just have to really quickly just end it, and it's like, oh, you're going to...
Nice.
Fucking dickheads. But yeah...
It was just LA Knight. I think we all knew he was going to win. We all wanted him to win, and I want him to win the briefcase. But I think there's that many different people at the minute who are announced for this match who could win it. And once we get to Raw and we go over it a little bit, we'll talk a little bit more about that segment with Money in the Bank with Logan Paul and whatnot. But it was just wasn't a bad match. Both good workers, and LA Knight got the win. And then we move on to the really big thing at the end of the night. Now, there was a lot of build-up with different segments through the night. With, like, Sami Zayn was sat on his standard box in the back, and he didn't say anything to Jey Uso, he just, like, nodded at him. That was sort of, like, what's going to happen. And then, obviously, we get to the segment. Reigns comes out, does his bit with Jey Uso, tells him that I've groomed you since like the beginning. You were going to be the right-hand man, and the only person who didn't want you to be the right-hand man was your brother. And that's when Jimmy comes out with no music, doesn't even come out to music, which made it even better.
Yeah, which is good, yeah.
Comes down to the ring, he puts his case across, he's like, I'm your brother and everything like that. But then, obviously, the big thing is, which way is he going to go? And he's like, Roman Reigns, like, when you were gone, I main event Jey Uso, all this, and that's all because of him. And he points at Roman Reigns. Reigns and Paul Heyman are like buzzing. And then he turns around and he goes, so that means you're out. And then everyone's like mind blown because no one saw it going that way.
Yeah, he didn't expect that at all.
And then he's just like, and I'm out too. Bang! Best thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's the only thing I saw of SmackDown, but it was just how quickly he did it. Look.
Yeah.
And then
he let it sit the perfect amount of time. And then it was the way he did it. It's like his acting in that segment was so good, and fair play to Roman Reigns because he made him look like $1 million.
Yeah, because they then super kicked Solo, didn't they? That one time, and he took 3 or 4, which is good because he's the powerhouse of it.
Yeah, I mean, Solo was like, he stood there as if to say like, "What the fuck have you just done?" Before he was like, "Right, now I better do something," and it made it better. Swings through, and Jey Uso misses. Jimmy super kicks him. He's like groggy, and then they both super kick him. He's out the ring. Reigns is going nuts, like as if to say, "What are you doing?" Walks towards him. They both super kick him, and it gets an even bigger pop than the original super kick.
Yeah, he sold it like he got shot as well. I remember when he went down. I've never seen him go down so quick.
It was like you can tell that he really wanted this to happen by the way he did it, and it was so well done. And we're finally going to get the payoff that we've all been waiting for. Still, even now, like even though it's happened, still didn't know it was going to go that way because they could have gone any way with it they wanted to, and it would have still been good. This is the way that makes sense, which makes you think that they probably weren't going to do that.
And then they've announced middle, like they didn't announce it on the show, Civil War, aren't they?
Yes. So that's at Money in the Bank.
Which is gutting. That's the like the one match I'd probably hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where are they going to go from this now though? Like, is Roman and Solo going to win and they're going to continue it, or?
I don't know whether because I think there's a lot of singles matches in here after the tag. Like you can do Roman Jey Uso again. You can do Roman and Jimmy. You can do Solo Jimmy, Solo and Jey. But eventually Solo's going to turn.
Yeah, he's got to,
Yeah, so, I mean, they've got to keep it going.
And then here comes Jacob Fatu.
I mean, Reigns needs to defend.
Yeah.
So the tag match, whatever happens, his next defence is against Jay or Jimmy. Or they'll end up in a fatal 4-way.
Yeah. Because the rumour I heard, which I think I've made it up in my head as well, is that not in a wrestling capacity at all, but obviously you got Heyman for the Roman side of the bloodline, and they're going to bring in Rikishi for the Usos.
Fair. That'd be cool.
His father, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Civil War, get it fully involved. Yeah. And then Rikishi turns on them.
Yeah.
And he did it for The Rock. Oh!
Mania 40, 6-man tag.
And there's 3 different variations. You've got the Usos, you've got The Rock and Rikishi, and you've got...
Can you imagine the 6-man tag? Rock and the Usos against Roman, Rikishi and Solo. I don't think I'd want to see Rikishi wrestle, but the thought of it is great.
It's WWE fodder in it on WWE game that you could use that.
Yeah, absolutely. There isn't really much else to say about SmackDown. It was all geared towards that, and it's probably been a longer review than we'd usually give it. Purely
which is normally when I've watched the whole thing.
Yeah, because the main event side of things was just so good. Best thing I've seen in wrestling. Like, I thought the ending of Dynamite last week was great. If you break it down segment by segment and by numbers, Dynamite's ending last week was actually dog shit. In the key demos, it lost viewers. I mean, but I thought the ending was great, but they lost viewers, so it couldn't have been that good.
Also, it could have been they've lost viewers by the time they got to the ending as well, which is the trouble with a lot of AEW stuff.
Yeah, because if you start out well, they tend to be shit at the end. If they start out bad, they tend to be good at the end. It swings and roundabouts with AEW. But there is podcasts out there that break these things down that I listen to. So I was very interested to see that ending 15 minutes completely shit the bed. Because it was great, but this was better.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, we'll move into Raw, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you want to quickly run down the results, we'll talk a little bit about LA Knight and what happened there.
So, results-wise, we had I'm assuming it's a returning, because obviously I didn't watch Raw last week either, because I weren't here. Tommaso Ciampa defeated The Miz in 4 minutes.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that was just a full-on squash to get Ciampa back in the hot seat. They're building Katana, Chance and Carter, it seems like, because they defeated Green and DeVille, the Karens.
Yeah. I think that I read that they're actually quite high on them. So
yeah,
it's once they've done the unification tag match, I feel like that's probably the direction they're going to go with whoever's the champions against them, which is probably going to be Ronda and Baszler. So
yeah, which is odd bringing up the NXT girls to lose.
Yeah.
Indusher had their match against Cedric and Benjamin and clearly ravaged them, but at least the bell rang. Riddle beat Kaiser in a good match according to Cage Match. The Viking Raiders won a match.
I could not believe it.
Yeah, like they beat. To be fair, if they're going to win a match, it'll be against Alpha Academy, but they won a match.
Yeah, so the thing that bothers me about this the most is that they're actually trying to push Chad Gable, yet he's losing in a tag match.
Yeah, that's how they push people. Look at LA Knight prior to this.
Mate, I watched a video on TikTok of LA Knight when he first stopped being Max Dupree. And he came out and started doing the LA Knight shtick where he was going, yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah. No crowd reaction. And now look at him. Like one of the most over guys in the company.
I think it's also because they just wanted him to get over. Money in the Bank qualifier. Trish Stratus is in Money in the Bank, which is a thing. She beat Raquel Rodriguez by disqualification.
Which is... So if they don't do Rodriguez and Ripley at SummerSlam, Rodriguez is winning Royal Rumble. That's what I think.
Yeah, I can see it. I just don't want it either. Brunson defeated Nakamura in that weird triangle thing they've got going on with them, Ricochet and him. And then the main event was Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day, and Rhodes, Kevin and Sami went over.
Yeah, it was Crossroads onto Priest, I believe, that got the day. Obviously, at the start of Raw, we were meant to have the Seth Rollins Open Challenge, which went nowhere. the thing that annoyed me about this when I actually watched this segment was Rollins was in the ring. The crowd are obviously doing his theme, but he poses in the ring, and you can tell he's waiting to be attacked. And I don't know what happened, whether it was timed like this on purpose or Finn Balor just missed his cue. But Rollins was stood there for far too long.
Yeah, it's awkward when people get caught and like standing there. It's like when I was watching the Ospreay Kenny Omega, when Ospreay was coming in, Kenny Omega rushed a bit too quick. So then it was like Ospreay wasn't there and Kenny was just doing his kneeling thing and wasn't running to do the move for ages. And it's like, why you're in momentum? Why you're not doing it? And it was clearly someone.
Yeah, in same segment, the Omega one, as Ospreay hits the ring, Kenny can clearly see him slide in.
Yeah,
like there's no way he doesn't see him. So yeah, it's timing is everything. And there's been a few mistimed things. I think this was mistimed. I could be wrong. I just don't see why Rollins would stand there like a mug waiting
just
to get
odd,
hit.
isn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit annoying. But as we mentioned earlier, LA Knight comes out after Logan Paul returns and declares himself a Money in the Bank because he doesn't have to qualify.
At least he didn't. At least he's not just going to join it though, as in like halfway through the match. Brock Lesnar style.
Lesnar style. Yeah, but that was good.
Boombot Lesnar.
Yeah, that was the best. Well, no, it was the best Lesnar until Cowboy Lesnar showed up. But yeah, it was just Logan Paul just saying I'm in Money in the Bank and all this crap, and then obviously loads of other people are in the ring, but we get LA Knight. Who just absolutely proceeds to murder Logan Paul. Like, this guy thinks he's famous because he makes videos for 14-year-old girls, and he's like, and he thinks he's a movie star and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and then basically says he's gonna win Money in the Bank, but he's so over if he doesn't win Money in the Bank. If he's over here, how he is in America, it's going to be a shit show if he doesn't win.
To be fair, like, I can't see anyone else being. Like, what's the lineup? Money in the Bank wise, like, I know. Let me just grab it up. Fuck it.
It's Nakamura's in.
First,
LA
so
Knight,
it is.
Paul.
Yeah, Escobar, Butch, and Priest.
Yeah.
So I can't see any of them. Except they're not going to give it Logan Paul because that would be stupid.
Which makes me think they might.
Yeah, Nakamura's never going to win it. Ricochet's never going to win it. I'm thinking main title, though. Any of these could win it and go for the fucking Intercontinental Championship now, can't they? Because of that rule. Thinking about it, oh god.
Yeah.
But it's got to be LA Knight or at a push, Damian Priest. Just if Finn Balor somehow beats Rollins.
I completely forgot about the rule change. Like, why would you give them the option to go for anything other than a world title?
I think it's because the rule change last year was because no one wanted to fight Roman Reigns. Like, Theory was like, no, that's stupid.
I know, but you can still, like, like, Austin Theory could have cashed in ahead of time and been like, I want to face you one-on-one like a man, and lost, and that's fair. If he comes in after a match and loses, that's done. But he still could have lost to Reigns.
Yeah, I think it's Austin Theory's character, though. He's a shithead, and he's never going to challenge someone to a one-on-one if he can.
Yeah, I know, but, like, for the sake of, like, you don't know what to do with Money in the Bank, like, you don't now need to make that rule. Just give it to someone who can legit lose.
Baron Corbin.
Or just have them cash in on Rollins.
Yeah.
Like, just...
yeah.
It'd just be, like, for anyone who wins this who doesn't cash it in on a world title, is done.
If LA Knight wins or Priest wins, they will cash in on Rollins or whoever wins main champ. If someone like fucking Escobar or Nakamura wins, they'll go for flipping some crap.
If Balor ends up champion, I think Priest cashes in on him.
Yeah. That's what I can see be a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it for Raw. I don't know if there was anything else major. I haven't read anything anywhere. Like, Smackdown was just the bloodline.
Yeah. There was
nothing
else. In terms of Raw, there was nothing that I'd pick out and think that happened. That's got big connotations down the line. A lot of the stuff that happened on Raw, in terms of the Trish winning, I could see that coming because I think they want Trish and Zoe Stark in the match to stop Becky Lynch winning, which means none of the three of them are going to win this match. And yeah, I think it's just between the three others that are in the match. I can't remember who they are. But yeah, it's... Yeah, I think that was just the way that it was always going to go with them. But yeah,
Stratus, Lynch, Bailey, Sky, Vlager, and Stark.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be. I'd give it Bailey if it was me.
Yeah, I would give it Bailey. Or if they wanted to do something stupid like a long plays, Bailey's about to win it and then she gives it to Sky.
Yeah.
And then it keeps damage control going. That's the only thing you can. It wouldn't work the other way. Sky wouldn't live around Bailey.
No, I think whatever happens is maybe Sky wins it, Bailey becomes champion, and Sky cashes in on Bailey. Same as Priest on Balor.
Yeah,
They could do it twice.
Do it on the same night as well.
Dakota, yeah, they probably will. Dakota Kai's out for a while, isn't she? So I think damage control being as it is doesn't work.
No, yeah, it's an odd unless they bring someone up.
Yeah, which they could do.
I can't think there's anyone major to bring up.
No. But yeah, we'll move on to Collision, because Collision was first.
Yep, and I watched this. So you might have seen my chat with DP about this, that how on the Discord, that Collision I'm worried for, because if this wasn't in Chicago and Punk, I don't know if it would have been any good. Yeah. So obviously CM Punk came out, Chicago crowd. He was allowed to do his spiel prior to this, so it was the just like, this is his down. Where's he lying, and then he made a kind of reference to the Bucks by calling him, saying, you don't want to be a counterfeit Buck. Yeah. And then he winked, so he clearly knew he loved that.
He winked at someone in a Jim Cornette shirt.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was the line that he kept saying. It's like, tell me when I'm lying, because that's now going to be his thing. Yeah.
Where's the lie?
Yeah. He's the new Bobby Fish.
And then this was followed by Wardlow versus Luchasaurus, and this is where me and DP had the massive rant. So I rate this match 2.25 stars because it was just a bit meh. And Wardlow lost the title.
Yep.
So they announced in the middle of this match, there's been 81 defences of the TNT title, and there's been 18 different champions. Well, not different yet, like 18 different reigns.
Yeah.
Which for 3 years is an incredible stat of like, wow.
Six reigns a year when you break it down like that.
Yeah, and it's just like Luchasaurus being the champion, but then they're playing off of Christian. Basically, I'm guessing he's taking the bout. But it just makes the TNT title more worthless again. And then DP was saying, but it's good, like, Christian is the right man to take the title at this moment in time. And I went, no, that they need to put it on someone that's going to have it for 6 months.
Yeah.
If in 2023, if Christian is your man, you might be struggling for the TNT. Like, if he, like, it's different with, like, main, like, like higher titles. Like, when Goldberg picked up the title for, like, 3 or 4 months, it's just kind of a shock factor thing. Yeah. But when it's not a shock factor thing, Christian winning, like, the flipping TNT title, it's just, it's a struggle. And I gave him a list, like, someone like Swerve should win it. Or
mid-card titles in AEW just seem like such an afterthought.
Yeah, they've not got something correct. Cassidy's had it too long. Other people don't get the TNT title too long. Like, there's not a mixture of it.
Ground.
And like, it should be someone like Swerve or Daniel Garcia could have it, or someone having it for 3 or 4 months. Give it Wheeler Yuta. Just
literally, give it Daniel Bryan if you want.
Yeah. Give it someone like
Danielson, give it him for 6 months, and then someone gets a rub off beating him. And if you want someone like Luchasaurus to beat him, or like you give Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia or someone like that, have them beat Bryan, because the stature of the man will make the title better, and then whoever beats him carries on the prestige. Or
if they, after this BCC storyline plays down a bit, give it to Takeshita.
Yeah.
Give it someone like legit, and he just defends it for like 5 or 6 months without any kind of failure. It just needs to be sorted out. The TNT title's awful at the moment. Yeah. But yeah, Christian afterwards celebrated like he won the title. Then following up my bad mood from this, going, this is a new show, and except for Punk. QTV. So it wasn't QTV as it stands. It was just like an interview segment with QT and Powerhouse Hobbs. And they were just basically announcing his entrance into the Owen Hart tournament,
Right.
which I keep forgetting to think. Murphy versus Andrade was a stellar match. We're at 3.25 stars. Andrade won with the figure 8, which is incredible.
Yeah,
He won with Charlotte Flair's finish.
I saw his post on social media where he said it was like so difficult to do, and he doesn't know how she does it.
Yeah, no, he struggled. Like, he couldn't get the full, like, Charlotte Flair's like bending and head's touching the floor. He was pretty much just like that, where he couldn't get his head. But it still looked rough, as in like to be in it. But I really enjoyed that match. And then the House of Black came out and absolutely buried Andrade, like, as in the sense of beating the crap out of him, not buried him character-wise.
Yeah.
So that's led to Andrade is now fighting Brody King in the next Collision, which will be another good match. Then we had Tony Nese down, and he was basically saying some random crap, and this led to Miro coming down. And Miro, he just squashed him. I read it 1.25 star because it was a bit of length, but he just smashed him.
Yeah, it was just to get Miro back on TV, wasn't it?
Exactly.
I'm quite happy to see him because he's been kept away for too long. Because he's like, if you give him a run, he's actually good.
Yeah, and you don't just make him a Game Boy character, which was his own fault. That's what he wanted to be, like Game Master or whatever it was.
Yeah, so make him legit.
Character.
Someone else who could, like, I know he's held it before, but someone else who could make the title legit if he's got a legit character.
Yeah, if they keep it on him, whoever gets the title next needs to have it for 3 or 4 months at least. Like, but I'm saying 6 or 7, definitely. Following this up, we had the Outcasts versus Willow, Nightingale, and Sky Blue. So obviously Sky Blue's from Chicago, so this is pretty much for the pop of that. I rated 2.5 stars. It was just an average women's match on the show. It ended with the green spray going off up in the air because, you know, they have to keep involved in that. And then Sky hit a really good version of the Code Red.
Yeah.
So instead of just doing the jumping on the back and then flipping, she kind of jumps at the side and then flips into it. It's really good looking. So she picked up the win.
Yeah.
So she's gunning for Tony Storm's title.
I am a massive, massive Sky Blue fan.
Yeah, she's good.
She's really
and she's
good.
actually winning matches now, because we had that discussion prior that day. She was just getting battered, and it was like, she's a good wrestler and just getting battered every week.
Yeah.
Then we had the...
I'd love to go back through the podcast and see how long we've been saying that. Yeah. Because it's finally happening.
Do you know who wasn't on SmackDown? So we didn't get to discuss them.
Go on.
The Cameron Grimes meter.
Oh, shit, yeah, no, he wasn't.
He's already in the bin.
Yeah, that's it, done. Released.
Frozzy wins. Fatality. Acclaimed were up next. They got to the ring. They did scissoring. Literally, there was no reason for this segment at all.
No.
Literally, I don't... It's so dry now, this Acclaimed.
Think of all the stuff that gets cut for shit like this. Like, people complain there's not enough women's wrestling on AEW. They're doing shit like this that's stopping it. Yeah,
it was just there. And then we had the trios match, which was Jay White, Juice, and Samoa Joe versus Punk and FTR. They kept calling them CMFTR, which is an awful name.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Have you seen the merch?
And the top merch, and it's like, oh, come on. But yeah, so I rated this 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I liked they kept playing on the Punk versus Joe side of it, because that's obviously a massive match from previous Ring of Honors and stuff like that. Obviously, they went over because it's the first first Collision, and it's in Chicago. But they went over. It was a pretty fun way of them getting over.
The ending was a bit contentious, wasn't it, because of the way it happened?
I don't remember the ending.
Purely because didn't someone tag in and then Punk tag immediately, and that's not allowed.
Oh no, it's AEW. No, that's why I didn't think it was contentious. That happens all the time.
Yeah,
well, that literally happens in every trios match ever in AEW, so that's why I didn't even think about that being a thing. But yeah, I wouldn't. Because it happens in every other match, I wouldn't say it's contentious. But yeah, it was Collision was fine. But if it wasn't in Chicago, so next week is in Ontario, so that's in like Kenny Omega country. So the Elite's going to be on Collision.
The problem they've got is that they're running every show within 50 miles over a full weekend.
So it's going to be a trouble. But like I said, like Collision, it could be another Rampage. after a while with CM Punk. That could be what could be happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Because except for that CM Punk's part in that, and then probably just having a good match between Andrade and Murphy, there's just not much there at the moment.
What you need when you're making a new show like this is a main event angle. Look what happened when they had the first episode of Dynamite. There was a main event angle set up on that show. What's the main event angle here? What's going on? I know CM Punk's got this title, and whatever's going to happen.
I forgot about that. I didn't even mention it. That's how much I cared.
Yeah, whatever happens with that happens, but there's no big angle. Like, there were stories furthered in the show with the House of Black and things like that, but that's not the main talking point of this show. But I couldn't tell you what is.
No. As I said, it's new. I'm just worried for it because Chicago Punk, I thought they have to put on the best show possible, but it was just Punk, which was the best part of the boss.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see next week. What I'm going to be doing is now going forward, I'm going to have to watch the wrestling the day after it comes out. So I'm going to have to watch SmackDown on Saturday and stuff rather than leaving it to flipping 4 days in a row. And if I miss one, it's screwed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to watch SmackDown on Saturday, Collision on Sunday, then I can watch something random on a Monday, which will be Forbidden Door this time around.
Yeah.
And then as we go. But yeah, so that was Collision. We move into Dynamite. So they kicked off strong with the Hardy Boys versus the Gun Club. Jeff Hardy needs to go away.
Already.
I rated 2.25 stars. Jeff Hardy, I like Jeff Hardy, but I can't watch him wrestle anymore. Because even when he sells stuff, I don't know if he's selling or if something's going on. I'm always worrying something's going on, and it's just not there. It's just a really awkward watch. They ended up losing because the Bullet Club Gold helped the Gun Club return the favour, and then Ricky Starks came out. So obviously, as you know, I was over the moon that Ricky Starks was making a save, the man that's lost every match, and this storyline's been going on forever.
Yep.
Followed by FTR coming out, and then CM Punk comes out. Massive pop. It's a GTS. It was all good. And then he announces that at Collision, it's going to be the Bullet Club Gold versus Starks, FTR, and Punk.
Yeah.
In the main event, so it's going to be another tag team match in the main event to kind of wheel Punk back into wrestling. And he announces on there as well, which I really liked. He went, "This isn't Collision. I'm not even supposed to be here," which is kind of another throw at the Bucks because they're not there. Like he can turn up on it. Then they went straight through to a match that sounds awful, and it was awful, which makes me sad at the same time. Mark Briscoe versus Jeff Jarrett in a concession stand brawl match.
Yes.
Have you seen what this looks like yet?
No.
Genuinely, they're in a concession stand, backstage, fighting in the concession stand.
Why?
Throwing popcorn at each other. Karen Jarrett gets involved, and she's under a mask, and she sprays Briscoe. They go to a break. They come in the ring. Satnam gets involved. Sonjay gets involved. Jay Lethal gets involved. Audrey Edwards didn't get involved. So happy about that. Papa Briscoe hit a Uranagi on, I think it was Jay Lethal for a table. And then eventually Briscoe won the match. I rated 1.5 stars. And you know it's bad if I'm rating the Jeff Jarrett match 1.5 stars. That's gone like 15 minutes as well, that match.
What a mess. This whole situation is a mess. Have you seen that match from Rampage?
No, I was never going to watch a match with Audrey Hepburn in it.
It's something.
Never going to watch it. It makes no sense.
I want you to see it.
No. I'll watch it on our 1,000 subscriber edition. So in 7 years' time, I'll be watching that. And hopefully she's never wrestling again. So yeah, that was just so bad. This was followed by a backstage promo with the BCC, and they're kind of showing that Takeshi's actually in the BCC now. Because recently he's been hinted, but they've not actually been together at any point. But yeah, he's proper in it. They're challenging the Elite to a 5-on-5 match at Forbidden Kingdom, then Forbidden Door, which is going to be the variation of Moxley, Yuta, Castagnoli, Takeshita, Someone missing?
Garcia, Utah.
Utah. Did I say Utah?
No.
Utah.
Right.
Cesaro. And Brian won't be in it. It's against Carter.
He's against Carter.
Yeah. So
Are they missing
Takeshita.
one?
I don't know. I think
someone?
was it a 4-on-4, and I've just completely boshed that thinking about it. AEW Forbidden Door.
I feel like it's 5-on-5 and they're announcing someone.
Shota Umino.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's why, because he wasn't there, and obviously he's linked to Moxley, but he wasn't there, so that's what's blew my mind there. Yeah. And then they announced that, so basically after this, Moxley speaks about Brian fighting Okada, and then Okada says, Brian says that Okada's an amateur wrestler, and he's a coward, and he ain't going to show up tonight. Which he's adding more fuel to the fire, so I'd like that. Then we had Lasex Suzuki. So Guevara, Jericho, and Minoru Suzuki versus the dream team of Action Andretti, AR Fox, and Darius Martin.
How is this a match?
Because someone pressed randomizer on Fight Forever, and this is the match they got. I rated this 2.5 stars. It was just fine, and obviously the Sex Gods won. This was more about the thing afterwards. So Tony comes down and says, first time you've ever been in the ring with Sting last Dynamite. And then Sting says, Chris Jericho said, everyone was really happy about this except me, I don't really care. Then Sting comes out and they have a talk, and then it basically ends up with that it's going to be a 6-man tag match, but with Darby and Sting versus them three. But they're not announcing the mystery tag called Collision. I don't know who it could be.
No, is it going to be someone from New Japan? Who's Jericho? Yeah, I was going to say, is Jericho feuded with someone and they've not had the match, maybe?
Kota Ibushi? It's not going to be him, is it? It's probably going to be, thinking about it, might be Hiromu Takahashi, because he tagged or was in a match with Darby at last Forbidden Door. Right. So that might be it. I can't think of anyone else that might do it, or let's get the Naito over, which would be incredible.
Yeah.
Naito!
You know what scares me about this pay-per-view? That the BCC and the Elite might go on last.
Oh no, they've Brian's in the main event. They've already announced it.
Oh, is that going on last?
Yeah. That's they kept screaming it at the end of the show, but yeah, that's the main event. Right. Thank God for that. MJF was down next. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at last week's. I was flipping finger around my hand. The Elite basically said they accept the. They announced the blind tag tournament. They rolled 2 balls out, but they didn't tell you who it was, and they skipped to Elite. Then Elite has said they've got friends, and then here comes Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston basically says, I don't like any of you. I'm just doing this because I hate Claudio, which is fair enough. At least they're sticking to the gimmick. And he said, the only way I'm going to do this is if you let me pick the last person, which they kind of agree to, but don't at the same time. Then this was moving on to Cole and MJF down at ringside. So Cole was out a bit, and then he called out MJF, and then MJF says there's not going to be no rematch. Obviously, MJF's going to say that he's never going to call a rematch. Then Hiroshi Tanahashi appears on the Titantron. He basically calls MJF a coward because obviously he doesn't want to fight Tanahashi, and he said he's not even turning up at Forbidden Door because that's an MJF thing to do. Then Adam Cole does his mind games and says, maybe it's because he's better than you, and basically he forces MJF's hand and he's going to fight Tanahashi. But prior to this, Tony Schiavone comes on the mic and he says, I've got an announcement. You two are a tag team and the mystery tag battle royale thing they're doing. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. I do like the mystery tag things. They used it in WCW Battle Bowl and stuff like that, where you'd have someone like Sting tagging with someone random, say in this essence Sting tagging with Satnam Singh. It'd just be really random tag teams, but proper make no sense tag teams. So I'm hoping they do it properly. You have someone like Orange Cassidy with, who can I think of random? Luchasaurus. Yeah, just someone random. Then we had the dream match of Shibata and Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia. I rate this 3 stars. It was really good, and they actually got Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. to pick up a win. Because when you see Shibata and Cassidy as a team, you're thinking, oh, God.
Yeah.
But eventually, basically what happened was Orange Cassidy accidentally Superman punched Shibata, and Garcia pinned him as Zack Sabre Jr. kind of held Cassidy. At the end of the match, Zack picks up the title, and then Shibata grabs the title. This is Cassidy's title, and then Garcia, and they're all doing like a tug-of-war thing. Then Cassidy walks over like he normally does, meanders. The two, Cassidy, Zack and Garcia just let go of the belt, but Shibata won't let go of it, because obviously he's just been Superman punched. And then it's announced that that's going to be a fatal 4-way match. Cassidy is going to beat Shibata, Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia.
It's fucking depressing, isn't it?
The only way they can save that is if Daniel Garcia wins that match.
Yeah.
Only way. Because Zack's never going to win it, because he's not in AEW, and Shibata's already got the pure title, so he's not going to win it.
Yep, so Orange Cassidy's beating 3 wrestlers who are all better than him.
Ospreay was backstage. Officer Bob Brady caught him. He says, "How you doing, bruv?" And he was basically saying, "You seen all the death threats I'm getting, Canada, bruv? You know, they're all gonna. Oh, he said a proper like Londoner word, like when they're gonna get him, they're gonna like mush him or something like that. I can't remember the actual word, but it was like gang rush him or something like that. And then here comes Don Callis, and he says, "You know, I'm from Canada, but I hate it as well. But you know, whenever I'm in Canada, I'll get like this secret like agency like security, so I'm going to offer that to you." And then Ospreay says, "What? Why would you give me that? What's in it for you?" And he went, "I just want a nice clean match." So that clearly means that Callis is going to get involved in the Omega Ospreay match.
Probably.
Which will be fun.
I was saying to DP last week that if Ospreay doesn't win here, I have no idea what they're booking and why they're booking it.
No one knows what anyone's booking. This is New Japan's booking. This is as well. You got to think, because if Ospreay doesn't win the title, they think Kenny should keep the title.
Yeah. And
Kenny's not defended at all.
No.
Except for once, maybe. Main event time, we had Taya Valkyrie versus Statlander. I read it 2 3/4. It was good, but it was just a match that Statlander was clearly going to win.
Yeah.
Nothing happened afterwards. Statlander celebrated. She's defended the title 3 times out of 4 weeks. Now let's give her a break for 2 or 3 weeks. Let's not go Cassidy.
Yeah. How has Taya Valkyrie got another title shot?
Because she's a heel now.
Could not care less. Don't make records matter if they don't.
They've given up on the record thing, haven't they? Like, they haven't mentioned it for
they still show them though.
Yeah, they show them, but the stat thing has ended. And then here comes Kingston, and he's basically out saying, you know, obviously I hate Claudio, but like one of my best friends is in the BCC, which is Moxley. Moxley comes out. He does a kind of a random Art of War quote. It sounded like, of, you know, if you're standing behind me, I'll protect you. If you stand inside and we'll fight together. If you stand in front of me, you've got to destroy you or something like that.
Yeah.
Then Eddie Kingston does something really funny, which I found out. He went, "I just can't be asked for this. The mystery tag partner's Ishii." That was literally just, he announced it that way. He just went, "I can't be asked for what you're doing here."
Yeah.
Ishii comes out. They batter Moxley and that lot for a bit, but then Claudio, obviously, and everyone kind of comes out to save Daniel Bryan and so forth. They actually wail on these guys. And then Bryan says, you know, Okada's a coward. Look, he hasn't come out here. And he went, "You know what? I'm going to stamp on Ishii's face until Okada comes out." And he's about to launch it, and Okada comes out, obviously. The crowd actually massively pops this time. Like, you remember last time where he was just, Okada's there, but no one really cared.
Yeah.
This time they actually cared, which is good. And they did a face-off thing. Then Wheeler jumped Okada, got him down. Bryan gets Wheeler to set up the Psycho knee. He obviously hits Wheeler, and then he goes for the Rainmaker, and Bryan obviously dives out of the ring, because that would be bad for him to get a Rainmaker the night prior to Forbidden Door. And then he just Rainmakers Wheeler Yuta's face off. And then it ends proud with Okada standing tall. So that's one match I'm really looking forward to.
There's 2 matches I'm looking forward to. One of them is that, and the other one is Ospreay Omega.
Yeah.
But
We'll have a quick...
that makes the whole pay-per-view for me. Like, the matches could be anything else, but because they're going on quite towards the end, it makes the show worth watching.
Yeah, because we'll have a quick rundown of the matches.
There's not many been announced, really.
There's 9 now.
Is there?
So, yeah.
It was 4 leading into last night.
Yeah, they all got whammed in. Also, Tanahashi is fighting someone on Collision the night before Forbidden Kingdom. I can't remember who it is. Forbidden Door. So I don't know who he is, but Tanahashi's going to be on Collision, which is in wrestling 2 nights in a row. Is kind of losing the wow factor.
Yeah.
So match short. This isn't the match. This is just how it is on Cage Match. So you've got Storm versus Willow Nightingale. So I'm guessing they're just doing that a version of Storms from AEW. Willow Nightingale's technically on New Japan Strong Champion, so technically it's Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Cassidy, Shibata Jr. and Garcia. The Suzuki Jericho match we've already mentioned. The CM Punk match is against Satoshi Kojima.
This is Owen Hart Cup.
Yeah, Owen Hart Cup. So obviously Kenta rejected the match against Punk in the end. It was not the other way around. Punk actually wanted to fight him. Kenta didn't.
Yeah.
He went, "What's in it for me?" The Elite versus Takeshita. Sonata versus Jungle Boy.
Yeah, this still pisses me off. I try not to talk about this. I was fuming last week.
Oh, you didn't hear this? Discuss.
You didn't? Did you?
No.
You did not watch the podcast?
Of course I didn't.
I was.
I wasn't on it.
Apoplectic with rage that they thought that this was a good idea. Like, no. He's just lost the world title match that he didn't take seriously in the first place. And now you're doing this against Sonata. If I was Sonata, I'd have just said no. I'd have pulled a Kenta and just been like, I am not wrestling this mug. Look at him.
Yeah.
He looks like a 9-year-old.
What's worse about it as well is that MJF's fighting Tanahashi, which is it's a decent match. Like Tanahashi's like the ace of New Japan, but neither of these matches, like they're putting Bryan versus Okada on in the end. So both world champions are not good enough to be in the main event.
No, and what they should have done is just have MJF against Sonata. That's what they should have done.
That's just a random match, not for a title. Good.
No, not for a title. Just champion versus champion, best of both brands.
Yeah, and then they would have probably had to have MJF go over just because no one would have cared Sonata winning in America. Yeah. Unless someone cost him the match, which probably would work.
You might have cared in Canada where the show is, though.
Yeah, and then you got Danielson Okada, obviously in Omega versus Ospreay, so they're 2 incredible matches. The card's not terrible. There's just some, like, the Suzuki match requires there to be a good mystery partner for me to care.
Yeah.
Cassidy match requires Cassidy to lose for me to care.
Yeah.
Punk's going to beat Kojima. The Elite versus the BCC is going to be fun. But they've got 2 cannon fodders of Kingston Ishii in that team. But then they've got Shota Umino, so who knows? Sonata's going to beat Jack Perry, obviously. MJF's going to beat Tanahashi, and then Ospreay's got to win, and then Bryan Danielson and Okada can go any route, but I think Okada must win. I think they're going to...
Yeah, I think Bryan will probably be like happy to lose, and then go to New Japan and maybe beat him there.
Yep, and then have the rubber match at Kamikaze Pro.
In the dojo.
Yep, we pull in 500 views, baby.
But yeah,
anyway.
I mean, it's been a long week for both of us, as you can probably tell. So, yeah, we are going to wrap it up here, because there isn't much else to say. Forbidden Door is this weekend, so we will be reviewing that on next week's show. So we'll be reviewing 5 shows next week. We'll maybe talk about how we structure that and how it looks further down the line over pay-per-view weekends. I don't know whether we're going to change anything. We'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of wrestling to watch at the moment.
What worries me is that at one point we were doing the B show as well.
Yeah.
So every night would have been wrestling this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's madness. But yeah, we will sign off there. So as always, join our Discord. The link is in the description in the video. We've got our social medias above me here. The HCW Show on Twitch, at the HCW Show on Twitter, HCW Show on Instagram, the HCW Show on Facebook. You've got my Twitter handle here, Rate over there. Give us both a follow. And yeah, just keep liking, subscribing, telling us what you like, what you don't like. Comments are always appreciated. But yeah, if you've got anything to add, Rate, go now.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
And we will catch you on the next one. See you soon.